Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Line Stand Podcast, episode 146. Victory Thursday, or shall I say Victory Monday, because we ended up coming up big with a huge victory over Pachuca on Monday. We'll be getting into that in just a few minutes. For everyone that's watching, make sure to drop some comments in the chat on YouTube if you want us to show your comments live on the chat. We'll discuss them. Any questions you guys have, feel free to drop them in the chat. Only on YouTube, nowhere else. So if you're watching this on Twitter, go over to YouTube. Louis Alfiero Viajero is joining tonight live from Monterrey. He's ready for this weekend's match. How's it going, Louis?
Already in the viaje this time. I got Monterrey is a city that I still have despite my loathing of the place when we're gonna play on Saturday. Fondness for the city and the people in it, and some friends that I have here from the brief time that I lived here over a decade ago. Can't believe it's been that long. Mm-hmm. So I decided to take advantage of the fact that I'm already on vacation for my work. Come up here a couple days early, just take it nice and easy, and not like I usually do, where I'm rolling into town the morning of the game, or even in the case of I played here a couple months ago, just getting in a couple of hours before the game started. This is a little bit better. I'm doing well, Carlos. It was a big win against Pachuca. Those games are always weird. They're always either like a really tight, really hard fought, zero, one or the other. Go both over the last few years, and that was a really good night to be El Glorioso and a relief, because it's been a huge waste and a big disappointment not to get at least 3 points out of those 6 possible that we had to start the season playing at home. Big time came through for us in that game with Italian goals. Barreiro, his third or fourth ever as a member of the club, and Canelo was unexpectedly in the news today, having his best game as a member of Club Leon by far, and potentially his last, but we'll have to get into that in a little bit.
What's up, guys?
Carlos.
Can you guys hear me? Or is it me? Or
I can hear you, Javier. But Carlos, okay. Carlos is trying to talk, and he is muted, so we cannot hear him. There you go.
Ah, man. I hit the mute button for some reason. Javier, my man, how's it going?
Chilling like a villain. Happy
San Diego?
because we won. In San Diego, of course. I'm still here. Wasn't planned, but I guess there's nothing wrong with staying here another month before I head out to Utah, or maybe just go back to León. Really, right now, it's a whole whirlwind of things going on. But regardless of all of that, ganó la Fiera contundentemente. Goleó, ganó y gustó.
Yeah.
So, happy.
Great victory Monday, 4-0. What'd you guys think of the game? I mean, 4-0 seems a little too exaggerated, right? Like, these games, I thought it was going to be a little closer. I didn't think it was going to be a 4-0. It was very unexpected.
Well, and even the first 15 minutes or so were a little shakier than the end result would have you believe. To look up, sorry, not to look on my humans, but they put up a good fight. Always do. I mean, that's a squad that always has quality. They don't have a huge following. We always groan when their club that basically has no fan base gets a big signing that could have been for León. We always groan about that. But to their credit, they always have. They always feel competitive. Mata is obviously no joke. One of the better coaches in Liga MX. He always has his guys fighting, and they put up a fight in that first half a little bit. But then, in the span of whatever it was, 10, 15 minutes, things just kind of fell apart for them, and they saw themselves down 3-0 at the half, kind of like basically out of nowhere.
Yeah. Javier, ¿cómo lo viste?
Well, let's just put it this way. The first half, I was trying to, get to a point where I can watch it because I was hanging out. I was out and about. León scores con Ivan Moreno, and I'm like, yes, this is good. And I mean, I think I checked before I actually found the game. I was checking the scores. It was 1-0. As soon as I go to the game, it's like the last minutes of the first half, and then I got to see los últimos dos goles of that half, and it just felt like it made me feel like, all right, whatever I'm doing right now, like I know Leon's gonna be good, but I really have to go back and totally rewatch the whole game and analyze it. But
Yeah.
all I could say is that after rewatching everything back and just paying more attention, I think Pachuca is a good team, but I really do think Leon llegaba, and I think even though it's not at all because Viñas is not playing and Borja, we saw Jefecito, which was to me surprising because I thought Perro. I don't know why Perro didn't start, but it doesn't matter. I think it's the whole maybe Monterrey and having to play like then Vancouver and like those. I think they have this is kind of like, they're gonna be there's gonna be a lot of changes. I think even against the game against Monterrey, but overall, I just kind of like cómo funcionó el equipo and kind of just that Larcamón kind of style of playing now that we're kind of getting used to, right? Muy bien parados atrás, and really, really hard for them to score on us. And that's kind of what I love the most. We got a clean sheet, which says a lot.
Yeah, I was really concerned about that Perro benching, whether he took a knock in training and they didn't really tell us about, or whether it was just for rotation purposes. I was really concerned about that. I just consider him so crucial to what Leon del Arcamon does. But to Jefecito's credit, he came in and filled in admirably. As you mentioned, Carlos, in the chat, one of the better games from him we've seen in a long time. Obviously, the quality is there. It's just the consistency and the health are the question marks with him. But to his credit, he came in and filled in for Perro, who's been just a rock for us. And for him to not be in the lineup, not even on the bench, was concerning. But his absence wasn't even that noticeable. We got the job done on the contención very well without him. Yeah, just a real fun night. Oh, we didn't even mention, I mean, it wasn't as big a deal for you guys watching on TV, but the match was delayed half an hour because of torrential rains, one of the most dramatic downpours, short-term downpours. There have been rainier games, like where the rain lasted longer and the field was more affected. I'm remembering a game against Necaxa, another one against Mazatlan. There have been a few over the past few years. This one ended up not being that big of a deal once the game started. But before the game, I mean, this was one of the biggest torrential downpours that fell in the stands of the Glorioso in maybe ever. And people were afraid the game wasn't even going to get played. And by the time it started, people were soaked. And, Leon traditionally struggles on wet pitches. They struggle in rainy matches. Those kind of things never seem to go our way. We never get the kind bounces, the lucky bounces that happen in games like that. And it didn't matter today. Today we just played our game and dominated it ultimately. And just happy faces all around. Always great to beat Pachuca.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Yes, sir.
I think beating Pachuca is definitely like top in Primera División. I think it's top. Well, it's actually a good question, a good hot take. I think it's top 7 games you always
You
want
got a
to
hot
win.
take. We got to roll the clip if you got a hot take.
It is a hot take. It's definitely a team that.
Hot take, my man Javier.
My hot take. I think Pachuca is como Chivas and Tigres coming up are 3 of like the top 7, probably 8 games that I don't ever want to lose against, and probably a team. Pachuca is mainly because por lo del grupo. Other than that, del Martinez Bowl, whatever they want to call it, other than that, I don't really care for it. But I think also put into the fact that we don't want to be called el hermanito menor. If anything, we're somos primos or something. So definitely, it's like a game where I want to know
your top 5 games that Leon should never lose.
Top 5.
Yeah.
América Chivas Tigres. Now Tigres, I put them in the top 3. Ooh,
Cholos?
this is a hard one, man, because I think teams like Atlas in the last couple of years, por la cercanía de Guadalajara y León, there's always been a lot of atlistas in León. Yeah. But also another team, there's del Ascenso, Tijuana. But also you can't forget about Cruz Azul and Pumas, which I think porque lo que significan en el Glorioso. Louis been there. He probably hates Pumas more than I think he'll say Pumas more than Cruz Azul whenever they come in town. those are probably top 5, 7. That's why I put 8. I put Pachuca number 8. I think other teams probably like a Querétaro or something, por lo regional. But I do think that in the last couple of years, man, it's been Atlas and Tijuana, just because I'm from San Diego, so since I can remember going to see those Leon Tijuana games, sucked if you were in Tijuana and you went for Leon. So it's a whole thing. I think top 3. I think now there's a que Irapuato ya no existe. Or I think they came back, right? Con Salamanca.
They're trying to bring him back.
They're trying to bring him back. And I actually said something during the week where I think it's a good thing. I'm not going to hate on Irapuato. I'm always going to say que es un Irapuato, but at the same time, I'm going to be like, we need an Irapuato because León, ya no está Lulo ni Curtidores. Celaya es en segunda división, but between Celaya and Irapuato, el clásico del Bajío es Irapuato. Those are the regional historical clásicos. But, I think León in the last couple of years has made, other bigger rivalries now. Tigres, El Internacional with LAFC, I think. I want that one to be top 5, I think. If it's not Liga MX at all time, I think LAFC is getting there. But yeah, what do you think, Louis? Because I mean, you always go to the game. So where are the fan bases you most feel like animosity when you're there?
Chivas is definitely number 1. Definitely number 1 without a doubt for me.
Yeah,
just the
America Chivas.
The brazen shamelessness of their fan base, just insisting that they're still, the equipo grande that they were back in the 1960s, is just, I don't know, it's just sickening to me. I cannot stand anything about that franchise. That is number 1 for me. Number 2 is probably Tigres. I think. I don't know. In recent years, I've kind of softened on America for some reason. I used to not be able to stand them, anything about them, and I still don't like them by any means. But they've kind of, I don't know, they've fallen farther down on my list of priorities. So they're probably number 3.
The top 3 are like mine. Yeah.
Yeah, Chivas, Tigres, but definitely in that order: Chivas, Tigres, America. Then, I mean, after that, you can take your pick of a few clubs. I mean. Maybe a year ago, I still would have said Atlas, just because of that history that we lived with them.
Because our final, we created the folklore of Atlas, so it has to.
But Atlas are like, they're like the Florida Marlins. They're like the Florida Marlins, Javier. Like they had their fun.
2001, 2002.
They had their fun, and now they're selling everybody off, and they're going to have another 70 years of misery. Like,
well, no, they became champs. When
they sold off
series 98.
They sold off. They sold off Quiñones. They're selling off Furch. Like, the party's over in Atlas, and they're not bringing in like quality, like for like quality. I'm sorry, they're not, and I don't think they will.
I could also see Iraragorri selling Santos and keeping Atlas, but you're right. I think maybe I would take Atlas top 5. I would at Tijuana though, man. That's just one of the interesting ones.
I don't know. I just wouldn't add Tijuana just because lately they've been so pathetic as an organization.
That's true.
Like They've been terrible. They had their good run back 2016, 2017, 2018. They fielded some good teams, like when Piojo Herrera's first stint. Other than that, and obviously they won their one title with Turco Mohamed. But other than that, like they've been such an irrelevant organization. I can't even, I'm not even ever thinking about them.
Yeah,
I put Pumas 4. I put Pumas 4, Cruz Azul 5.
Yeah,
I put Pumas 4, Cruz Azul 5. Like I don't like. I dislike both of them wholeheartedly, but Pumas a little bit more just because of that Goya chant. I cannot stand the Goya chant.
I knew you put Pumas in your top 5.
That puts them over the line for me.
Yeah, Pumas is in my top 5. My 5th place is it's like a tie between Cruz Azul, Tijuana, and Atlas because of the lately. But then you could also put Pachuca. I think it's just pretty much like I know for a fact Pumas, they can't deny the fact that they do not like us. I know because le ganamos una final, we've overtaken them in titles, and they must be it's one of those things where when you kind of talk as a Leon fan, and you are whatever talking smack with Americanistas and Chivistas and Cruz Azulinos. It's kind of hard to be like, it's your team. Well, they got more championships. Even then, I'll still go for it. Like, America. Okay. But with Pumas, it's like, dude, why are you even talking? Like so so they must hate that. So yeah, I would put definitely Pumas probably fourth. Aparte son dos equipos felinos. Fifth, I would put Cruz Azul just because green and blue es un clásico entre rojo y
Shout out
verde.
to the chat. Arturo Ruiz joining us as always.
That was
Chivas,
my top five.
América, Tigres, Atlas, and Cholos. This is
Yeah.
from me from recent years.
I agree
And-
with that one. The only reason why I would put the Pumas and Cruz Azul is porque son equipos grandes. But that being said, more personal, like historic. But again, don't get me wrong. Con Cruz Azul ha habido muchas finales con León. You know what I mean? Like they have their history. And
Yeah.
Pumas, yeah, fue final.
Shout out to David also. It's probably Chivas, Tigres, and Pachuca, the derby of brothers.
El Martinez Bowl is called.
Yeah.
Arturo Ruiz saying you could also say Toluca because of the amount of players and coaches
Yeah,
they
I
have.
was-
from
Ah,
León.
I was
right
thinking
now.
about throwing them out there too, but I don't know. I just don't
That's
feel
why I
that
don't like
animosity with them, even with everything that's happened. It's not the same. No, also the thing about Cruz Azul and Pumas, like they haven't done anything more than León. Actually, they've done considerably less than León in recent years.
Yeah.
But they're still the equipos populares, equipos
Populares.
mediáticos. So any chance we have to put them in their
Yeah.
place
It
is one
feels
we
good,
have to
right?
take advantage
Yeah.
of.
That's why I want like
Yeah.
this, Arturo Ruiz, I went grandes. You should I want like that.
Yeah.
Equipos grandes. But I agree, más que nada son equipos populares. I think grandes really, I guess el único que es el América, pero también es el equipo más
Más ganador.
es Televisa, you know, like why would you ever go for Televisa?
It's the
And
most
Azcárraga.
backed by the machine, right?
Yeah, you know, it's like being I don't know, Louis, put this into baseball or NBA perspective. It's like being a not even a Celtics fan. You were probably say Lakers fan or something.
You put it into like music terms, like the rapper that gets the most plays because they're
Drake?
signed to like Interscope, you know, and not the indie
El
rapper.
Drake de la Liga Mexicana.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
who would fit that. I think America is so unique as well because they own la selección, el grupo más poderoso. You know, they compete head to head with Slim. I mean, I always
That's why it
said
feels
this
so
about
good when we beat
America.
them.
Yes, I mean, and historically, León has always been like ese coco in instancias finales against America. But
Yeah.
all that being said, man, my bad, Arturo. I'm not trying to talk crap about Drake, man. I'm just saying, like, I don't know who else to put him. Like, he's like most successful.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway,
again, there isn't really a comparison.
Yeah, let's get back to this Pachuca recap. I think we went on a little tangent there with that hot take. That was a great hot take, by
because
the way.
it's interesting. That Pachuca game is also a game.
We could have a whole
top 10.
podcast.
It's top 10.
We could have a whole podcast just talking about that. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. But let's end it here because we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
Arturo
This
Ruiz,
was a good aside though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Arturo Ruiz once again saying good victory on Monday after that loss against Chivas. It wasn't the best version of Pachuca, but it's good for the squad to gain confidence this early in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And he's also shouting out John
I agree,
Stockton.
man.
Elias looking like John Stockton with these
Yeah,
assists.
man. We just
Yeah.
well,
It's Carl Malone though.
Who's Carl Malone?
Well, no. Carl Malone's the mailman because he always delivers, but he always delivers in general. The guy who's
Yeah.
actually
He would always finish the
feeding the
plays.
assists was John Stockton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
you
would
know
be
this
like-
very well, Javier, because you live in Utah.
I live in Utah. They have a statue of Stockton and Carl Malone over there, man.
Yeah.
I think they got a couple of like shrines to them, bro. It's crazy. Could you imagine if they would have won one of those NBA championship finals against the Bulls? They would have stadiums and monuments.
Going up against the
nonstop.
GOAT? Nah.
Can't even tune into a game 7.
Anyways, 4-0 Leon. That was the end of the match. Goals by Moreno, Barreiro, Angulo, who we're all gonna get to talking about in just a moment, and Rubio scoring literally in the last seconds. 4-0.
Delivering.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, guys, before we move on and talk about the
Today's
transfer
big
news that
news.
happened today? Yeah.
No, just feels good to win. Ganar, golear, y gustar always feels good in this institution. As a León fan, that's what I want always that. So that being said, we're happy. But one of the person that scored, which we thought, I thought, man, he's se está encontrando con este equipo and everything. Apparently today they announced that, he's leaving León to play for what seems to be a constant, Toluca, they're taking every single one of our players. The heck, Ambris, I know you love Leon, but don't love us that much,
But Angulo isn't even one of the players that
I didn't even. I
had
know.
here.
Yeah.
At this point, he's just looking. I feel like all he does is watch Leon games. He's like, oh, I want that one too. I want him. Which is like, where's Toluca getting all this money? And I know Leon wants to just sell. Which I have a question for you guys. When Angulo came to Leon, they bought him.
I think
no préstamo?
it was part of the deal for Pocho, wasn't it?
No, it was a definitive buy.
Okay, so yeah, it's just. I thought era préstamo, but this is definitely like he came to Leon a préstamo. So I was like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
that
no,
all
it was
being
a
said, it's
buy.
good for Leon, I guess.
But I think like last season, most of us were like, oh, this guy's he's not gonna fit in because he was injured, so we never really got to see him at his full potential. And then the first 2 games of this season, this guy goes out and he shows out. I mean, maybe not the first game, but the second game comes out and he's looking really good, in shape. He's moving good, and he scores. And we're thinking like, okay, this guy's probably gonna have a really good season, and now he's traded.
Well,
Or sold.
Okay, here's the thing though. If this news had broken after his first game against Chivas, where he looked dreadful, it's absolutely terrible, and the news came out that Toluca wanted to offer us a bucket load of money for him, I think people would have been like, please take him. Should have been done yesterday.
I would have been like,
we can't.
What are you smoking? But
we can't. I mean, the sample size of him being not particularly useful is far larger than the sample size of him being serviceable, let alone good. So we cannot get wrapped up in the performance that he had in one game. I think we got to be real careful about that. And as we were talking amongst ourselves in the chat earlier, I think this could be a move that ends up working out for everybody. But it's just weird timing because it didn't happen after the Chivas game. It happened after the Pachuca game, which was by far his best performance in the Leon jersey. By far, like not even close.
I'm wondering if the offer came in after that game or before. Because if it was before, the wager was probably lower. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was after.
Because of the part that like that, they offered some like a large amount of money. So, I think Leon wants to make right now lo mejor que pueda para traer un mejor refuerzo. But I heard that's the thing are they going to bring somebody else?
I mean, last I heard, se queda Omar Fernandez, right?
Omar Fernandez.
Yeah, well, that news came out before all this, though. Both the news about the most likely outcome is that Omar stays and that there won't be another refuerzo. All that came before the news broke about Canelo. And so I'm wondering if
they're going to stay. I
wonder if this changes things at all. I'm wondering if this changes their approach at all. Like, I still say, man, if they can jettison Omar and somehow convince Colombato to stay. I know not everybody's a fan of his attitude and all that kind of stuff, but the best replacement for Angulo, this comment is correct. We are well stacked at that position. We are dealing from a position of strength, which is what you always do in baseball. Like if your bullpen is great, you have too many good bullpen arms, you can trade a couple of those dudes for a bat to a team that needs bullpen. You deal from a position of strength to get a position of weakness.
$5 million.
But like I still think the best natural replacement for Canelo that's on our books right now is Colombato, and I would in a heartbeat sacrifice Omar if you could convince Colombato to stay. I just think he would fit like a glove with all the rest of the dudes that are still there.
It's just a shame that he doesn't want to stay though.
Yeah,
there has to be. And my belief is that there's like some internal beef or something that doesn't like how could you be his age and not want your position back knowing that your team is going to the Club World Cup where you can basically show out for the world to see.
There's no, I know he still has the sueño europeo, but there's nowhere he's going to go in Europe. There's nowhere he's not going to go. He's not going to go to the Champions League, the UEFA Champions League title holders. That's not in the cards for him. his path to playing the Club World Cup is to stay in León. Like, I know he has the sueño europeo, but depending on what kind of nivel you have, like, he's not going to go to one of the giant clubs over there. He's going to go to a club similar to the ones he's been playing at. Like, sorry, but Famalicão in Portugal or wherever else he was before that, Sint-Truiden in Belgium, I think is where we got him from, and he played in some lesser known clubs in Italy too. I think like he's one of those guys he's gonna be on the margins of Europe. He's never gonna be with a big club. Whereas here, he can be a big star, and he's still gonna get his chance to play on the world stage when we go to the Club World Cup. I don't know. I think the guy is getting some bad advice from his representation. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's like we all kind of just analyzed. It does not make any sense for him to not want to stay. I hope the rumors are not true that he doesn't want to stay, that he really wants to go to Europe, and that's his desire. I did see him cuando puso la foto, su profile picture of him with the León jersey. I thought that was like his call for like, hey, I want to stay. This is me wanting things to, but regardless, maybe la directiva has other plans. So whether he wants to stay or not, if he tiene el sueño europeo, good for him. I'm not gonna be like, nah, man, you gotta just play for my team because you love these colors and screw your sueño europeo. But if he does have a sueño europeo, right? We all kind of just determined that wouldn't the best way to show the world what you got is playing, ganándote de nuevo tu posición, and then demostrando que eres uno de los mejores jugadores en la Liga Mexicana in Club World Cup. But he's doing some other thing.
Shout out to David for this information. I don't know how true it is. Maybe you guys know. Supposedly, Toluca paid $5 million for Angulo. And don't forget, Toluca wanted to buy Avion Ramirez too. I read somewhere, some tweet, I can't remember who, that they paid for 80% of his card. So
still, León has a possibility.
Yeah. So if there's a future sale, there's probably a 20% that's going to León.
Now, here's my thing, though. That $5 million is a great number. It seems like a really good number for a player like Canelo Angulo, what he's done for us, which is not very much, this last match aside, which I think
$5 million is a lot, though.
More of an outlier than a possible trend. I mean, he still has a chance to be very good. But it
how
seems
much
like
is
a high
Omar
number.
Fernandez
It seems like
worth?
a high number. But my thing is, if that $5 million isn't immediately invested back in the club to try to make the club better this season while the window is still open, then that $5 million is useless to us as fans. I mean, I really don't. I love Jesus Martinez for what he's done for this organization, but it does nothing for me for Grupo Pachuca just to balance their checkbook. That's what this move seems to be like. They're having financial. I don't know. It's a difficult moment for them financially, and they're looking for a sale to help balance their books. That doesn't do anything for us as fans. If that money isn't going immediately, I mean immediately, into looking to make the team better right now, then it's useless to us. In theory, it's a good sale. We have as we've said, we have a lot of people, a lot of dudes who can cover that position. It's a position of strength that we're dealing from. Whether he goes or stays, we're likely not going to be hurt by the move, but I mean, you got to use that money to make the team better while you have it. I mean, you're playing the Club World Cup. We're playing the Club World Cup for the first time ever, and it's not like, I mean, I know Man City is good. Probably, they probably the most expensive team in Europe, if not the best. But this isn't Real Madrid or Barcelona that we'd be going up in a potential semifinal or final, what have you. We don't even know who the Libertadores winner is going to be. We got a chance to make some real noise here. This the way this club is constructed.
Well, look, Louis, it could probably be because you're right. Sometimes when you see these kind of transactions in any other sport, you're like, are they planning for this season right now? Like when it comes to baseball on the trade deadline, or like when they're drafting and it's like they're looking for young talent to build for better. I think the Directiva would be really extremely bad managed if they sell Angulo just to make money, knowing that they're playing un torneo muy importante como este junto con a Leagues Cup it's like this is the moment right now where you have to really put all of that resource into getting good players. If it was true about the $5 million for Angulo, which is a lot, but if it is, I don't know how much Omar Fernandez costs, but I would just get rid of Omar and just get un extranjero mucho mejor que valga ese dinero de 5 millones. Because you
According
need
to the transfer market, Omar Fernandez was purchased from Puebla by Leon for 3.5 million.
I don't know how much he's worth now, but I think if they actually got 5 million, they can get someone, right now maybe Larcamón better needs in la posición, whatever it is, man. I think it's.
David saying El Pocho Guzman left to Chivas for $3 million plus Canelo Angulo.
Wow.
3 million plus Canelo. So it's like 8 million. He's worth 8 million. Anyway, I didn't think he was going to leave. It caught me by surprise. Louis, you sent us that image this morning on the chat, and I was like, nah. I was like, no way. It's not going to happen. It's one of those, rumors started by like a blog page or something. It's not going to happen.
It was
Cheque.
source of the information was Paco Vela. And Paco Vela is a personal friend of mine. And I didn't want to doubt him. I was like,
Nah, you doubted him, bro. I saw you.
It might be humo. I mean, I'm not saying the man isn't capable of throwing out some humo.
He likes it sometimes. I know.
But doubt the man at your own risk. And he was the first one to report it. He was TMZ in this case. He was the first one to report it. And it turned out to be true. And then Cheque Gasca reported it, and then Omar Ceguera reported it, and then
Yes, I had Omar second from after that.
Poco a poco, it started to take shape and become a little bit more legit. Shout out to Paco. I don't think he's probably not listening, but he will be in Monterrey. I think
Shout
he's
out
getting
Paco.
in tomorrow. I hope we run into each other up here.
Paco Vela?
So he was the one to break the information, and it turned out to be true. So shout out to him.
Shout out, Paco. Shouting you out right now.
The hardest working man in Club Leon freelance journalism.
The James Brown of
the James Brown of sports journalism in the Bajío region.
He's a hard-working man. He's up there with James Brown.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so let's move on to this Tigres versus Leon. We just said we don't like to lose to them. Yeah. So we obviously can't lose to them this Saturday. Luis, you're going to be there. You're already in Monterrey now.
I will be there. I'm already in Monterrey. I already have my tickets. Everything's all set.
Already eat a carne asada. Look at them, all happy.
Well, I didn't get carne asada yet, but I went for tostada siberiana today.
You did some Monterrey.
For those folks who are familiar with Monterrey, who've been here before, that is a style of tostada unique to this region, a delicacy. One of my favorite things, one of the things I miss most about, one of the food items I miss most from the time that I used to live here. And hopefully I can get some carne asada before it's time to leave.
You were a Regio before all of this?
I was never a Regio. I lived here.
Don't talk to me ever again.
I lived here for almost 2 years, but I was never a Regio.
I know you lived in Japan, bro. You got to write like a book or something about your life.
I didn't live in Japan. I was in Japan. I spent some time in Japan.
What did why did the first thing you told me?
But that's neither here nor there. I will be at the Volcan for. Seems like I feel like I go to that stadium more than any other. I mean, it's because of all the liguillas and eliminatorias we played against Tigres.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just there. I was just there for the Champions semifinal back in April, and now it's a couple months later there again.
It's going to be an interesting game.
It'll be an interesting game. Tigres has underperformed to start the season.
Exactly.
Definitely a championship hangover for them that they're going to be looking to bust out of at home against. Yeah. I mean, this is a choque de campeones. Let's not forget that. But this is a choque de campeones. This is a choque de campeones. Teams that know each other very well. Teams that squared off against each other 3 times in a week, not 3 months ago, I guess now.
Epic trilogia.
The trilogia épica, exactly. And as you'll recall, we got the better of them in that Trilogía quite handily, eliminating them from Coca Champions play. So this is a choque de campeones, but we eliminated them on our way to our title. They did not eliminate us in any way, shape, or form on the way to theirs. So I'm not saying which campeonato is worth more, ours, but this is they're definitely not gonna want to go down quietly playing at home against us under these circumstances.
100,000%. I think the fact that esa trilogía happened earlier this year, and hot take again, I guess, but no, I mean, it's not really a hot take. It's just I believe that I don't think it's the last. I'm not saying que se van a enfrentar en liguilla, but yo pienso que se van a enfrentar en Leagues Cup. I feel like down the line they're probably going to face there
who?
too.
Leon
Tigres. I do all these mental gymnastics. I'm looking at all the things. Like I do think we're gonna fit LAFC for sure, though. I think that's a given. Like if
That'd be a
Leon
nice rematch.
if Leon wins the game against Vancouver and LA Galaxy, they will secure their first spot. And if they beat, it's probably going to be all three are great options. By the way, Salt Lake City. I mean, Real Salt Lake, Seattle Sounders. Don't Louis' second team. And
Yeah, right.
and Monterrey, like whoever gets second place in that group, I think it's good. If it's Raw Salt Lake, I'm happy because I get to see them in Salt Lake City. If it's Seattle Sounders, then Louis is happy because he loves them too. And if it's Monterrey, it's gonna be Tano Ortiz versus Larcamón, since that game against America in the Azteca and Pedro Romero got needing the balls. Like it's going to be interesting to see whichever of those games. But if they do beat whoever that comes, then they'll most likely face LAFC, and hopefully we beat LAFC, and then we'll continue este clásico con esos dos equipos, or rivalidades, whatever you want to call them. But for sure, this is to me una rivalidad muy importante. Tigres ya fue final. I think it's probably going to be one of those games like Louis just said. The reason why he's always been probably where he's been the most is at Volcán, is because siempre están enfrentando en instancias finales. So I definitely think that this is not the last they're going to face this year. Mark my words, whether it's Leagues Cup or esta liguilla, I think they're just destined to keep clashing. And to me, it's el clásico felino, and I don't want to ever lose against Tigres. So whether we go over their entire win, I think like you guys are saying, this is not the best version of Tigres. I think they got a serious case de campeonitis, and their campeonitis is getting worse, hopefully, for us, and hopefully throughout the Leagues Cup. Gignac is not playing from what I heard.
Even if he does see a few minutes, he's not 100% yet. He's getting his rhythm back.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't imagine that he would start.
Hey, put that comment that David said about Alfonso Poncho.
Yeah, I was about to.
Yeah, that was distracting me the whole time.
Guys, Alfonso Gonzalez Ponchito might come to Leon. How many times have we heard that in the last?
I've heard that a couple of times.
They're working on a similar deal with Rayados for Luis Chavez, money plus player. In Monterrey, they said the deal is almost complete.
Man, you're dropping a lot of great bombs here, David. I don't know where you're getting your information.
Where is this coming from? Because I need to we need to go straight to Paco Vela right now.
This guy has some connections.
Ponchito Gonzalez for Canelo Angulo would be a great trade-off.
No, wow. He said Luis Chavez.
Luis Chavez is going to Monterrey.
Luis Chavez would go to Rayados, and maybe we would get Poncho Gonzalez.
Yeah, but I think you said Canelo Angulo. Didn't you say Canelo Angulo?
I said Alfonso Gonzalez. So Canelo Angulo is gone, but if we get Ponchito Gonzalez in his place, that's a good trade-off in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I mean, that's a lot. That still presents a lot of internal competition. I mean, unless this guy wants to come off the bench or somebody else says they'll come off the bench. I already said,
because in that situation,
Omar Fernandez is already like, okay, I'll come off the bench. He's already accepted that role, but who else is going to accept that role? Fidel, Jefecito.
Yeah.
Jefecito, I mean, what choice would Jefecito have? The dude hasn't been available really for the past few years, consistently.
Yeah.
The guy can't be demanding a starting spot, especially with Pedro Romero there too.
Yeah.
Don't go to Russia, bro. Don't
Luis
go to
Chavez
Russia,
just
man.
received an offer from Russia too. Don't go to
Man.
Russia.
Don't go to
That
don't go to
can't be
Russia, bro.
that can't be a good decision.
Man,
Let
these
me
guys
be your
more than we are.
representante. Look, we should be representantes at this point, man. I feel like who is giving these
That sounds
people
like that
advices?
sounds like a
Who's
terrible
leaking?
idea.
Who's
Yeah.
leaking these? This don't even make sense. You know how sometimes you're trying to like get an actor for less money, so you go and you start negotiating with another actor. Like, oh, even when it comes to that he might go to Russia. Who is that gonna help? That makes me like, why would you go to Russia? That's the only kind of ofertas you have. And maybe you're not. Again, I've heard que ahorita el mercado europeo they don't got a lot of money, so los que tienen dinero son los equipos árabes, los rusos, los chinos. Right now the any Qatari owned team in Europe, pretty much are doing those kind of buys. But I think right now people are just trying to go where the money is at. So I mean, probably he's gonna go to Russia because of the money. But what do you want, Chaves? Like, why would you just go to Pachuca? And I mean, go to Monterrey, so we could probably get Poncho Gonzalez.
Yeah. We'll see. Transfer window closes when? This weekend for transfers within Mexico, right?
I feel like I just saw this tweeted, but I don't know. I'll look for it right now. If someone get in comments.
Yeah. Let's see if Arturo Ruiz knows. Anyway, so this game against Tigres, it looks like León are the favorites going in. Obviously, just from the results that we've seen, Tigres couldn't beat Puebla, couldn't beat Juarez, and León is coming off of a 4-0 defeat against Pachuca. So obviously, León are the favorites, but we are playing in El Volcán where things normally don't go our way there.
Well, we did win the last regular season game we played there. We did come out with a win.
With that one, was it that 1-0?
Yeah, the 1-0 and own goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that's
about a year ago.
Yeah.
And
on Monday.
And we haven't gotten in our last two eliminatorias that we played there, we haven't come out with a win, but we got a result that allowed us to finish the job at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. How about we head into prediction time? If nobody has anything else, we'll head into prediction time.
13 el 13 de septiembre se cierra el mercado.
Huh?
That's what it said. Para los fútbol extranjeros o nacionales que militan en equipo afuera. Oh, that's afuera. You're right. Inside.
No. The transfer window for
Liga
teams
Mexicana.
in Mexico to sign players. So
I can't find that for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're saying. So David says Monday, and Arturo is saying either Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's head into prediction time. Which clip should we roll? This one. All right. Prediction time.
Prediction time.
Are you so happy, Louis? It's a prediction time. So happy. Okay. Well, you need to get one opportunity.
All right. One opportunity. Louis, go ahead. You go first. I'll let Javier think. This one.
Okay. Man,
I do gotta think a little bit.
This is a tough one. I think Tigres' campeonitis is real. I think they're going to need a few more weeks and a few more lesser opponents to snap out of it. So I think León is catching them at a really good time, coming off a big win themselves. Obviously, we could have had campeonitis too, but even again in the game against Chivas, you didn't really get that impression. That was a very circumstantial loss.
Small campeonitis, a little small.
It was a very circumstantial loss. I don't feel like the campeonitis was really the issue there. I think we're catching Tigres at a good moment. I think we're going to be on a high from that game. I think we might see some debuts. We didn't really talk about this, but supposedly names like Viñas, names like Borja are completely ready I doubt we'll see either one of them start, but I could definitely see a moment like this being a good opportunity to give them some minutes and see what they got. I'm excited for that. It's just exciting. Imagine the basically the starting lineup, obviously without Canelo now, but basically put Fidel in his place. So imagine the same starting lineup that played against Pachuca, but with Fidel and obviously El Perro available to start. And then you still have Viñas and Borja and guys like that off the bench. This is not your father's Club León that, you just had to pray you had a great once inicial, but you had to just pray that nobody got hurt because you didn't really have anyone to bring off the bench. Not the case anymore. I think that could be a huge factor. And so all things considered, I think León has a real good shot to take this one. It's not going to be easy. It never is up there. But I think León is going to pull out a 2-1. I think they're going to go up 2-0 rather early. I think, I think Tigres are going to be on their heels. I think they're going to get one back towards the end of the half. And that's going to be it. León locks down that vaunted back line, Adonis and Barreiro, mis hermanos. I think they're going to lock it down in the second half, and we get out of there with a 2-1.
Wow, 2-1. Shout out Arturo Ruiz. He also agrees 2-1. David, easy 1-1 draw. We always struggle in their stadium. Arturo Ruiz saying goles de Davila and Mena. Mena's one we haven't talked about yet. He needs a good pulling of the ears because...
Well, maybe se puede vestir de héroe en este partido contra Tigres.
Yeah.
Like I think I had the same thing kind of as Louis. I think we're going to see un León exactamente como the first half against Pachuca, and I think they're going to go up en su estadio de ellos, which I know historically León struggles, but I think.
But we do often score first. We do often score first.
And at times, it just seems mal arbitraje many times when they kind of come back from behind. But all that being said, I just feel like León is probably going to show that they got a really, really, funcionamiento, a really great funcionamiento. We're going to see in that first half, I think León va a atacar a Tigres. And I think Tigres has a serious case of campeonitis. And I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, because I think that first half, León's going to score at least 2 goals. And then the second half, all like Louis kind of predicted or is predicting, León's going to be super locked down, no dejar nada pasar, y jugar a tener posición y el contragolpe y lo que quieras. And I think all Tigres is going to be able to do is try to catch up. And I think I think that's what Larcamón is trying to bet on. So, to have control of the whole game. So I really want, I think un 3-0 Tigres. I mean, León against Tigres.
3-0? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
I am.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it could happen.
I'd call you crazy, but I mean, nobody was about to predict that 4-0 against Pachuca last week, and that definitely happened. So.
And it should have been more. It should have been at least 5-0.
It should have been.
Por eso, porque I think León está llegando mucho, juega bien, and from what I've seen from Tigres, I just think they have all around campeonitis. I think right now they're focusing more probably to just go to start the League's Cup or something like
and
that.
And León tied for most goals scored for best ofensiva through two jornadas.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Tell you, man.
Yeah.
Hero, that's gonna really be like we need to shake that loss against Chivas off. Beating Pachuca is a great thing to over take that, and beating Tigres is even better. Again, anímicamente it would feel better for us como aficionados. Beating Tigres, que para mí es un clásico, ya el clásico felino, and then heading to Vancouver, anímicamente bien after that victory in Tigres, in Monterrey, and just take care of business in Vancouver, and then LA, especially in LA, gotta be LA, anything LA Lakers. LAFC, Los Angeles Angels. No, I'm playing. I was just trying to get to that.
Chicago.
You're gonna be there for us. That's cool. That's cool. And Louis, you're gonna be in Vancouver, right?
I'm gonna what?
You're gonna be in Vancouver, right?
I will be in Vancouver. As of now, I will not be in Los Angeles for the match against the Galaxy, but I am hoping to attend at least, if León passes out of their group, to attend at least 1, if not 2, elimination games. Hopefully,
if they face either Salt Lake City. I mean, yeah. Well, would you go to Salt Lake City, or would you go to? Most likely, you'll go
I
to
would, I
Seattle.
would, I would go. I mean, the possibilities. I think yeah, we may not. No, I guess we probably we'll do one more show before the Leagues Cup kicks off. But just to recap, if I'm not mistaken, the possibilities for their first elimination game would be Salt Lake City, Seattle, Portland, or San Jose, and I would definitely try to go to any one of those. Uh,
If it's Salt Lake, I would be more intrigued in knowing if Arturo Ruiz would go. And he
He just
just
said
said
he would. He lives
he
2
just
hours
said he
away,
would. I'd go to
and I'm
Salt
like, I'll
Lake.
see you over there, bro.
Only 2 hours away. Dude, that would be so awesome if all three of you guys could meet up there.
yeah,
We could go. That'd be epic.
I'm planning on. Well, what I haven't booked my. I'm flying up to Portland and then obviously going to Vancouver next weekend.
Wow,
But I
what
have
an
not booked
adventure.
my. I
Las
have not booked
aventuras
my
del cielo
flight.
viajero.
I have not booked my flight back to Mexico yet because for this precise reason. I'm waiting to see where Leon is going to play in their elimination games, and I'm going to try to book my itinerary back through wherever that is. So if it's Salt Lake
Good.
City, yeah, I would. There is a direct flight from Salt Lake City to Mexico City, so I could do that.
Sounds good.
There is.
Yeah, man. Delta.
Why was I going over to San Diego? Whatever.
Well, because you have people in San Diego, Javier.
That is true. But I thought like because there was times where I just wanted to fly from like Leon straight to the U.S. Like we got to go to Vegas. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to Vegas and then go.
Well, if it's San Jose, I think there is a direct flight from San Jose. Well, if not there, Sacramento, Oakland, there definitely is. From Oakland to Leon.
Interesting.
What about you, Carlos? You didn't even say your prediction.
That's what I was about to say. I was waiting for you guys to let me.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go 2-0. 2-0 Leon. I think.
What? What?
I know.
That's like I said 3-0, you said 2-0, and you said
No, I'm gonna go 2-0 just because we look really good defensively in the midfield.
Yeah.
We look very solid. Attacking, we
agree.
look good. I think Platano's gonna start, and he's from Monterrey, or he's ex Monterrey, so he kind of has a little.
He's gonna have that in his bones.
Yeah, he's gonna have that in his
Anti-Tigres.
bones. So I think he scores, and then second goal, I'm gonna give it to one of the new guys. Should I give it to one of the new guys? No, let's say Fidel. Fidel from distance. Golazo de Fidel, como le metió a Nahuel in the Champions League.
So you said 2-0. Luis said 2-1.
Correct.
2-1.
I said
And you
3-0.
said 3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you want? Just one player. Who do you want most to see score? Just because what it would mean to them, and just because enhorabuena, and just because that's what you kind of visualize, and what you kind of just mostly want. You said Fidel pretty much, huh? De larga distancia, Carlos.
I mean, that's not the one I want to see the most, but
Or Platanito. You said because he's starting, and it would mean a lot because he's ex-Regio, ex-Monterrey.
Yeah, probably Platanito. Yeah, maybe one of the new guys, like if Viñas can come in and score, or if Borja can sub in and score.
I agree.
Like these new guys that come in to pa que mojen.
And then I like how Arturo Ruiz thinks Elias would be great. Someone like Elias to, he's top.
Elias, because he's ex Tigres too.
He hates Tigres. I know for a fact he did not his time in Tigres. That's a great one, but because también es uno de los más goleadores.
Always plays well against Tigres. Like even when he wasn't playing particularly well in his first season or two in Leon, back in Leon, like he played real well against Tigres.
And they always boo him there for some reason.
Yeah.
Gol de asistencia de Elias.
Like of all the ex players they could have a grudge against. Like I don't
Elias, el patrullero. Like why would you hate on? He's currently like top 6.
But they would boo him. They would boo him in Morelia if Monarca still existed.
Because he left them. But come on, he had
greater
horizons to conquer. Like I think his yes, Morelia and Leon without a doubt are his teams. I think he's from over there. He came out from over there, pero lo que hizo con Leon, even if he won a championship with Cruz Azul, I think he knows for a fact that con Leon, I think us as fans respect him. He was there in the bicampeonato. He was there. He's been around. You know, he's one of at Carlos. You had a hot take once.
One of my hot takes
it's a great hot take because the more I think about it,
Elias has had a better career at Leon than Chapito Montes. I don't know what the chat's gonna think about this.
It's a hot take, man, but
it's a hot take.
Bro, if things keep going the way they are, like
goleadores.
this season, if he continues to play the way he has and things turn out well for Leon this season as a club, I think that argument gets all the stronger. You know,
if he wins another title with Leon,
if he wins another title with Leon, or suppose we make it to the final of Club World Cup or something like that, and he's a big part of the process.
Big part of the process.
You know,
then he passes. He passes Montes.
I mean, the argument certainly gets a lot more interesting.
Yes, I agree with Louis. Yeah. It just becomes more like if right now we're even thinking of comparing them. Imagine if he keeps, it's gonna make it less like people are gonna. It's the same thing with Tita and Montes. Quien se mejor desde la historia. I think as Chapo Montes kept winning and winning and winning, people say no, forget Tita. But as Chapo has now left, and Leon continues to win, which is another thing we need to understand. When we lost against Cruz Azul in '97, that hurt, but it doesn't hurt anymore as much because what has Leon won afterwards, you know? So it's kind of about players come and go. Lo más importante es la institución, but then it's kind of how people still remember Tita, and people are gonna always remember Chapo for sure. That's why it's so hard. I think Chapo, it's hard. It's like Boselli and Dumbo Lopez and Aurelio Salomone and Nica Carvajal and Cota está haciendo su historia como los mejores arqueros de la historia de León. I think after that you got to put los que fueron campeones. Arenaza is one no one ever talks about. Un peruano who was back-to-back champion in 48, 49. You know, I think it's that was like I always call that the golden age, but I feel like because we're living in it, we never kind of pay attention to the era we're living in. But this could easily be the second golden age, you know. Yeah. The dark ages was los 10 años en el ascenso. The renaissance for us was Matosas and what he did. He revolutionized todo el equipo, making it what it is today, you know. Because you can't ever forget Chapo, El Guli Peña y Gallito Vázquez, one of the mejores tridentes probably in the historia del fútbol mexicano. So, you know, you put all these into perspective. It's just so hard to compare them, but it's always good to call these comparisons out because in a way I don't see it. I only feel I feel like let's not disrespect players, you know, because I hate comparisons. But I do think it should be un halago if you're doing it, and it's not really like if you're surpassing one player or one better, because you can't really compare eras. But just the fact that we're comparing all-time greats de León, you know, I go more for like hay una mesa, you know, like tiers. You know, I think there's top tier, and then there's like, and I think Chapo se sienta con los, and I think what we're trying to say is Elias could probably very soon sentarse con los más grandes de in la mesa de León because of what he's won. Because again, the one thing that I'm really kind of just saying based off is sus goles. Tiene muchos goles con León. Ya con eso, if he scores like 5 or 6, same thing with Mena. That's another player who has it's in the same boat. If somehow Mena can make more goals, he'll keep climbing that top 10. I think it's already like 7 all time or 6 all time. So yeah, same thing with Boselli. Why he wants to come back? He says el máximo goleador de la historia de León. I think these are all things players are aware of, but if they're not, we make them aware of. And I think that's what we're saying about Elias, that when we're looking at that página, I think Guiñac is number 1 most active goleador with 170 something goles. And then it's Funes Mori, and then it's Furch, and then it's Cabecita, and then 7 is Elias. So that's right there. He's right there. And then yeah, and if he keeps making goals, it's like when I look at baseball, I'm looking at home runs. I'm like, man, I'll probably play Tom. If I was a baseball player, I'll play Tom 50. Like just like to keep going up every year with more baseball home run hits. Yeah, you know, try to beat Hank Aaron and Barry Bonds records.
Yeah, for sure. No, well, I mean, this is a good hot take that we can continue to talk about as the months go by and as Elias's career continues to grow. I mean, because he's still growing, and it's kind of weird to say that because the guy's like 36 now.
And
He's
Arturo
on his,
Ruiz is
everybody thought he was on his way out, and this guy's like
people
having a
were
second-
trying to say he had to leave because or some people. The rumor was that Necaxa offered him more money and that Leon was going to offer him a pay cut. So I think he and yeah, what Arturo Ruiz said is true. Es un héroe del ascenso. That's why we have so much love for Gulli, for Gallito, for Burbano, for Loboa, for Nacho Gonzalez, you know, even Melitón. We got love for Melitón just because he fue el portero del ascenso.
You jar, bro.
I can't
Yeah,
imagine
Gabriel's
Necaxa. I can't imagine
Segundo.
Necaxa offering anybody more money for anything ever.
I know,
But
Necaxa, bro.
I think it maybe
That team
you
is
know
owned by
they were offering him.
Longoria or
They were
something.
offering him a change of scenery, but I'm really glad that didn't happen. What I'm most impressed with is his pace. Like he's
Yeah.
still running. He's still running so hard. You know, his work rate
Yeah.
and his pace. Like you'd think those would be the first things to go for a player like him.
His
But-
his high IQ too. He has one of the
But,
highest IQ.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, give him credit for staying in shape and
yeah,
being able to play at this level physically
Yeah.
at this age.
yeah, he's smart. He knows he's one of those players that can play. He can get older, but he has a really high IQ when it comes
Yeah.
to playing his position. So he doesn't have to run as much. He can be smarter. He can pass. Ese toque que tiene no se le va. And come on, there was an era where era centro de Elías, gol de Boselli. Like that's an era
Yeah.
in Leon. So he's been through a lot, and that's all we're trying to say, that he's getting up there with the greatest players, volantes que ha tenido Leon en la historia. So he's yeah.
For sure.
I hope he scores 2 against Tigres.
For sure. All right, guys, let's wrap this up because we're at an hour and
We're at
Yeah,
the 1
gotta
hour
go.
mark.
Yeah, and I got Monterrey things to do.
yeah.
You and your Monterrey stuff, bro. I got California things to do. I got San Diego stuff like
Yeah.
carne asada fries and just watching Padre games beat the Dodgers and stuff like that. That gives me happiness. And Shohei Ohtani's coming to the Padres, or he's coming to the Yankees. You gotta sorry, Carlos.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's
a whole different
I was gonna suck you in. I'm like,
Another
come on,
hour.
Carlos.
That's
Come
another
on,
hour.
Carlos.
That didn't sound right.
There's 5 more minutes in this podcast.
Nah, let's go. All right, let's get
More
out of
hot
here.
takes.
We got to get out of here.
We gotta get out of here.
All right,
All right,
guys.
guys. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone in the chat. Arturo
Yep.
Ruiz, David, Angel Delgado showed up
David,
at the end.
we need to talk, bro.
Yeah, so thank you
Junior
guys
Fuentes.
once again. We'll be back next week.
Trade Fuentes.
I think we'll be back next week to recap the victory
Recap the
against,
win against
likely.
Tigres.
against Tigres. Yeah. So
And
anyways,
to finally preview the League's Cup
Leagues Cup.
yeah,
exhaustively.
follow us
Yeah.
on social media, guys. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. All the good stuff.
Hold on real quick. The first League's Cup game is Friday.
Friday the
for Leon.
21st.
Yeah. So we
Against
got to get
Vancouver.
one exactly in a week if we can.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right,
Let's
guys.
get out of here. Bye.
Peace.